Welcome back to another video. Today I just want to talk about or fill you in on how my shadow work journey has gone so far, and just sort of go through a few of the prompts and go through briefly about what I wrote in some of the responses, and also give you a little bit of background about me and where I'm at in my life's journey. So if you're interested in that, keep on watching. Thank you again for coming and clicking on this video. Please feel free to put a comment and like the video. You can subscribe if you want to. I'm not sure about the video schedule. I just kind of post when I feel like it. But if you feel inclined to watch more of my videos and you like them, feel free to subscribe. So I brought my journal. This is where I did all of my shadow work. And I got through I think the thing was 16 days of shadow work. I don't remember specifically. Let me go through and look. Yeah, so it was 16 days of shadow work. I literally only had one more page to do. And the prompt was, what do I need to forgive myself for? And why have I struggled to forgive myself for this? And I thought this was the perfect prompt to do in a video format, because the biggest thing I need to forgive myself for is leaving New York City. And I've struggled to forgive myself for that because I feel like I gave up. I feel like I just quit in the middle of it. And I always had to remember that that was not something that was serving me. That was not an environment that was stimulating me in a positive way. It was not an environment where I was thriving. And so much of my experience in New York had been negative. So like the year that I left, I had moved in with friends, and I still care for them, and I hope that they're doing great. We just had a lot of differences in terms of where we were in our lives. And when we moved in, we all were kind of in similar places, and I thought that our friendship was something that maybe it wasn't for them. And so I don't take it personally, and I'm not holding any grudges. But I think for me, the biggest thing was just realizing that like this is not what I signed up for. Not because I quit it or because I gave up, but because it was what was best for me. I have spent the last 9 months since moving here in May last year healing from all of the toxic, traumatic, and overall scary experiences I've had in New York. And I'm thankful that I've had this experience, and I'm thankful that I moved out when I did. Given the fact that we had a second wave, a third wave of the pandemic, I'm just glad that I didn't spend another wave of the pandemic in New York City, because it was so traumatic. Like the things that I experienced and the rate of crime that was happening in the city at the time just wasn't good for me. Like the apartment that I was occupying previously, someone literally got shot in my corridor, and I couldn't go downstairs because my roommate told me there was blood everywhere. That's traumatic. Like I didn't see her get shot. I heard the cops. I had gotten my wisdom teeth out, so I was like sleeping, and I woke up and there was sirens and all these things. And I had the Citizen app, because in New York the Citizen app is the best way to figure out what's going on where, so you can either avoid the situation or leave it, you know. And so I checked Citizen, and someone got shot right outside of my door. Like I lived on the second floor. It was literally a walk down, and that's where it happened. And so to me, that was just like the final straw. Like this is not a place where I feel like I'm safe all the time. It's not a place where I feel like I could be safe ever. And letting my guard down could mean a lot of different things, right? And so that mixed with the fact that I didn't like my job, I didn't love my roommates, and I had never had a positive roommate experience in New York, like ever. Like from the moment I moved into New York to the moment that I left it, I had really terrible roommate situations. And it was so strange to me, because I had come from living in San Antonio before when I was an undergrad. I had a really great roommate situation with 2 people that I had made friends with just in passing, and it was great to me. They might have different experiences. I don't know. I can only speak for myself. But we got together, we had nacho nights, we went to the grocery store together. You know, we really got along very well, and we were all kind of nerdy, and I loved it. We had the best time. And so moving to New York, I was kind of expecting that same kind of dynamic between me and any of my roommates. But the first place I lived was with this older woman, her husband, and a classmate. And the thing is, the woman and the classmate, we were all in the same program. But the woman just hated me. Like, I don't know what it was. I had bed bugs my first year. I sat on a bench in the subway. Y'all, you don't sit on benches in the subway. You don't do that. So I got bed bugs, and I did not know that that was not a thing. You live and you learn, you know? And so I ended up having to move the mattress out of my room because she just didn't give a shit. I was like, I got bed bugs. What do I do? Can I throw the mattress away? She's like, no, you can't throw the mattress away. That seems like a you problem. All right, so now it's a you problem because it's your mattress. I put it in the living room and I bought a new one. Sis did not like that. So, I mean, I tried to talk to her about it. I tried to be like cordial and adult and have that conversation, and she was being a bitch. So I was like, bitch, okay, fuck you. Okay? But that was the first experience. The second experience I had with a roommate, it wasn't all that bad. I thought everything was fine. And then one day I wake up and she's like banging on my door, trying to fight me over a damn mop bucket. Girl, I'm getting ready to go out with some friends. You're pounding on my door about a mop bucket? Like, really ready to square up. Like, I was so confused, y'all. I was so confused. But I mean, it ended up working out. I had her sit down with me. I'm like, hey, like, I'm not a fighter personally. We can sit down and we can have a conversation if that's what you need, but like, this is not me. This is not gonna work for me. And so we talked about it. We ended up hugging it out, and then I went out with my friends and just forgot about it. Shortly thereafter, I ended up moving out into a dorm for an internship that I had. But then, y'all, another bad roommate situation after that, where again, it ended in a violent way, where the girl was trying to fight me over an unpaid bill. And that was one of the worst years. That was one of the worst years for me, because I was just financially strapped for cash at every second. It was also the last year of my grad program. And so if you know anything about college, your last semester is when everything goes fucking tumbling down, okay? And so everything around me was crumbling, and I didn't know why. I'm like, what did I do? I'm trying. I'm working 3 jobs, sometimes 4 because I had a part-time job. And I still had no money. And this particular time, the school that I worked for was late on the payments, and it had happened to everyone. Everybody was late on the payments. Something happened with payroll, it was late. But she didn't believe me. So she called a house meeting and was like, she gotta go. She don't ever pay her bills, not true. She don't ever pay her rent, not true. My rent was paid 2 days prior because it was the 3rd of the month, so it was due on the 1st. And so she just made this whole thing like, I'm dirty, I'm this, I'm that, I eat people's food, I do this, I do that, I clog the shower. There are 4 women in a household. The shower gonna get clogged, y'all. That's just what's gonna happen. And so I was just like, so confused. Again, like, what the fuck am I doing to y'all? Like, I'm literally just living in the same way that all the rest of y'all are just living. And so everything about me, people fucking hated in New York, and that's fine. Maybe I was just coming across the wrong types of people, and if I had stayed longer, maybe I would have come across the right kinds of people. But I no longer had the energy, I no longer had the funds, I no longer had the time. So I was just like, oh, by the way, this is my favorite pen of all time. Anyway, but yeah, so I need to forgive myself for choosing to leave a situation that was not serving me, even though there were times and moments where I did thrive. There were moments where I loved life, like absolutely loved my life. And so since moving here in May of last year, I've sort of just been grieving that part of myself and grieving that part of my life and missing the version of me that existed in that timeline. And so it's been hard. It's been really hard. And so that's why I even started doing shadow work, because all of that trauma was bubbling up, and I was trying to avoid it by doing 50,000 things in New York. And it didn't work because as soon as I left it, everything came rushing back to me. And I went to therapy for a while and just became inconsistent. Not me, the therapist. And so I decided to quit therapy, and I'm still looking for a therapist. But the shadow work has really just made me realize, like, I can have the life I lived in New York anywhere. It takes time to build that. It takes time to achieve the goals I want to achieve. I know that the goal that I have set for myself doesn't exist for me in this place that I currently live. It's probably going to take me moving somewhere else to be able to reach those goals. But I'm also okay with that, because I'm being patient with my journey. I'm being patient with my healing. I'm being patient with myself. And I know that when the time is right, the universe will provide me with an opportunity that will give me the money, the time, and the resources to do everything that I want to do. And I have to hold on to that faith, because to be honest with y'all, late stage capitalism be killing you, girl. I know it kills some of y'all too, because like I don't like this. I don't want to play this game. I didn't sign up for it. Like, I don't like it. And so yeah, I need to hold on to that idea that something better is coming, because this shit right here is ghetto. No, I don't like it. So yeah. And in the shadow work, I wrote 3 goals for myself, and that's to travel to California. I want to go to San Diego. I want to go to LA. I want to see Berkeley. Berkeley is such a cute little place. I love it. And the number 2 is to find my passion and to start my business. My dream is to own a coffee shop or some kind of, like, not a concert venue, but it's like a coffee bar. So during the day, you come, you sit down, and you have a cup of coffee or a pastry or whatever the case may be. And in the night time, we turn into like a speakeasy where you come and have a nice drink with your partner or your friends, and there's some people having a performance in the back. And you know, that's what it does. And I'm really excited about it. How that's gonna happen, I don't know, but that is a life goal of mine, is to be able to have that kind of venue where people can come and gather and have conversations and be creative. And I want to host like pottery things, and I want to host like yoga. Like, it's gonna be amazing whenever it happens, because it will happen, because I'm telling you it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna be beautiful. And I'm gonna cultivate the space, decorate it with like my plants, and it's gonna be amazing. So stay tuned. It might take some time, but it's gonna happen. And the third thing for me is to live in Germany or Japan. I feel like at this point everybody wants to go to Japan, but it has been a lifelong journey of mine, a goal of mine to get to Japan, even if it's just to visit for a few days. I want to go to Japan. I don't know what the fuck is there, but I want to go, and I feel like it's going to be the one thing that I do in my life that will be the aha moment for me, and I'm looking forward to it. And Germany's on there because I'm very interested in Berlin as a city. I don't know, I'm intrigued, so I want to go see it. I want to live there. I want to experience the people, eat some Wiener Schnitzel. That's probably racist, and I'm sorry, but that's all I know about Germany is like beer and schnitzel. Oh, chowder, schnitzel. Hey. But yeah. So those are the 3 goals I wrote down for myself at the end of shadow work. And I will say that there were times when I was writing some of these prompts and I literally cried for some of the experiences that I had, and for the versions of me that lived through some of the things I have been through, especially in my childhood. And so I highly recommend shadow work to all people trying to heal from trauma, because there are going to be times where you have trauma responses to things and you don't even understand why. You don't rate it as a trauma response at first, but then you have some time to journal about it and you're like, that's why I respond in that way. That's why I'm triggered by these kinds of words, these kinds of phrases. And so shadow work for me really helped me get some perspective on who I am as a person. Because when I first moved to New York, I had no clue. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my up from my down, my left from my right, and it showed. And I think that was the reason why I came across so many people who combated who I was. Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what my boundaries were. I didn't know what my limits were. And so people poked at that version. They poked at that hole that they saw, this gaping hole that they saw in me, and used it to their advantage, or just used it in general, or just used it against me. And so I'm thankful that I moved out of New York when I did, because it was time for me to go. And honestly, if it wasn't for my current partner, I probably never would have left. I probably would have struggled it out. I probably would have, even with my deteriorating mental health, and I probably would not have made it out. And I'll be honest about that, because I was struggling mentally and emotionally. I was struggling. And so moving out has really given me the opportunity to sit with myself and reflect on the decisions I've made and search for something that's gonna make me happy and that's gonna make me fall in love with life again, in the same way that I was in love with life when I first moved to New York. And I am excited to meet that version of me in the same way that I was excited to meet the version of me that existed when I first moved to New York. But yeah, the biggest thing for anybody, anywhere, when you're trying to reach a goal, you have to be aware and self-aware. Or, you know, it's that thing that they say, like, stand for everything or fall for nothing. That's really how I feel. Like I didn't know what I stood for, so I fell for everything. And anything anyone ever said to me, I was like, sure, yeah, I'll date that guy. He doesn't like me, but I'll date him. I don't like him, but I'll date him. We don't have anything in common, but we're friends. Like, girl, get a grip. That's how I felt about me then. But the version of me that exists now is like very obnoxious almost about how I feel and what I want and what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate, because I tolerated so much bullshit before that I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to just say yes to a job because they're offering me the salary that I want. What is my day-to-day checklist? If it involves something that I don't want to do, then the answer is no. And I have to be steadfast in my expectations, in my goals, and I cannot waver on the things that I want in order to get to an end goal. And I listened to this podcast where the person was talking about willing things into fruition through manifestation. Like, if willing things into fruition is like, I want to go there, so I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to work my butt off to get there. That's when you will it into fruition. Something that you manifest naturally will come to you regardless of how much work you put into it. And that is something that I did not know before this year. And I willed New York City into fruition. I worked my butt off for it. I did everything I could, and at the very last minute, everything worked out. Because I worked out that hard. I looked for the places, I did the thing, I did everything, and at the last minute it all worked out. And I willed it the entire time I was there. I struggled it out the entire time I was there. I struggled to get there, I struggled while I was there, and now that I'm not there, I have a sense of ease again. And I cannot thank the universe enough for this pause. I know sometimes I don't seem that I'm grateful because I really want to be back in a city where I fucking love life again, and I'll get there. And I'm just remembering to be patient and to be okay with where I am, because the pause is a part of the music. So I hope that you guys found some kind of substance in this video. This is really just a reflection video. I just wanted to wrap up my shadow work. I thought this was the perfect prompt to end my shadow work with. I know I didn't, record any other videos of my shadow work journey, but remember this for you. If you have a question, if you're trying to start shadow work, this might be a perfect prompt for you. What do I need to forgive myself for? Why have I struggled to forgive myself for this? And write your response in the comments. I will read them, I will respond to you, and I wish you nothing but the best. Peace, love, and happiness on your journey to healing, and I hope that this was helpful. Thank you.